धम्म बौद्ध संस्कृति शिखिब सद्धम पाठशाला रे शिखिब सद्धम पाठशाला रे
बौद्ध धम्म बौद्ध संस्कृति शिखिब सद्धम पाठशाला रे शिखिब सद्धम पाठशाला रे।
नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स।
संघं नमामि। शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि द्वितीयं बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि द्वितीयं धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि द्वितीयं संघं शरणं गच्छामि तृतीयं संघं शरणं गच्छामि तृतीयं धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि तृतीयं संघं शरणं गच्छामि। पाणातिपाता वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि अदिन्नदाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि कामेषु मिथ्याचारा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि मुसावादा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि कामेषु मिथ्याचारा प्रमादधाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादयामि।
इतिपिसो भगवा अर्हं सम्मा सम्बुद्धो विद्याचरण संपन्नो सुगतो लोकविदु अनुत्तरो पुरुषोत्तम सारथि सत्तादेव मनुसारं बुद्धो भगवाति बुद्धं जीवितं पर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि ये च बुद्धा अतीता च ये च बुद्धा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये बुद्धा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्थि मे शरणं अंजं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्च वज्रेन होतु मे जय मङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं पादपंसु वरुत्तमं बुद्धेयो खलितो दोषो बुद्धो खमतु तं ममम् सखातो भगवता धम्मो संधिट्टिको अकालिको एहि पस्सिको औपनायिको पश्चात्तं वेदितव्यो तिंजुहीति धम्मं जीवितं पर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि ये च धम्मा अतीता च ये च धम्मा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये धम्मा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्थि मे शरणं अंजं धम्मो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्च वज्रेन होतु मे जय मङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं धम्मं च द्विजोत्तमं धम्मेयो खलितो दोषो धम्मो खमतु तं ममम् सुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्गो उजुपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्गो न्यायपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्गो समीचीपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्गो यदिदं चत्वारि पुरुषयुगानि अट्ठपुरुषपुद्गला एष भगवतो सावकसङ्गो आहुनेयो पाहुनेयो दक्षिणेयो अञ्जलिकरणीयो अनुत्तरं पुञ्जखेतं लोकस्साति संघं जीवितं पर्यन्तं शरणं गच्छामि ये च संघा अतीता च ये च संघा अनागता पच्चुपन्ना च ये संघा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्थि मे शरणं अंजं संघो मे शरणं वरम् एतेन सच्चवज्रेन होतु मे च मङ्गलम् उत्तमङ्गेन वन्देऽहं संघं च दुविधोत्तमं संघेयो खलितो दोषो संघो खमतु तं मम।
ପୂଜନୀୟ ଭନ୍ତେ ଗୁରୁଜନ ବୃନ୍ଦ ଓ ମୋର ଭାଇ ଭଉଣୀମାନଙ୍କୁ ନମ ବୁଧାଇ ଜୟ ଭୀମ। ମୁଁ ପଲ୍ଲବୀ ସଦମ ପାଠଶାଳାର ଛାତ୍ରୀ। ଆଜି ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କ ସମ୍ମୁଖରେ ମୁଁ କିଛି କହିବାକୁ ଯାଉଛି। ଆଜି ବୁଦ୍ଧ ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣିମା। ଏହି ମହତ୍ତ୍ୱପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ଦିନରେ ମୁଁ ଧମ୍ମ ବିଷୟରେ କିଛି କହିବାକୁ ଯାଉଛି। ମହାକାରୁଣିକ ତଥାଗତ ବୁଦ୍ଧ ଧର୍ମକୁ ବୁଝିବା ପାଇଁ 6ଟି ସୂତ୍ର ପ୍ରଦାନ କରିଥିଲେ। ସେଗୁଡ଼ିକ ହେଲା ଜୀବନରେ ଶୁଦ୍ଧତା ସମ୍ପାଦନ ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ, ଦ୍ୱିତୀୟରେ ଜୀବନର ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣତା ପ୍ରାପ୍ତି ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ, ତୃତୀୟରେ ନିର୍ବାଣରେ ପ୍ରାଣ ଧାରଣ କରିବା ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ, ଚତୁର୍ଥରେ ଲିପ୍ସା ପରିତ୍ୟାଗ କରିବା ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ, ପଞ୍ଚମରେ ଯୌଗିକ ବିଷୟରେ ଅନିତ୍ୟ ବୋଲି ବିଶ୍ୱାସ କରିବା ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ ଏବଂ ଷଷ୍ଠରେ କର୍ମ ହିଁ ନୈତିକତା ଶୃଙ୍ଖଳାର ଅବଲମ୍ବନ ବୋଲି ବିଶ୍ୱାସ କରିବା ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ। ଜୀବନର ଶୁଦ୍ଧତା ସମ୍ପାଦନ ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ଶରୀର, ମନ ଏବଂ ଭାଷାରେ ଶୁଦ୍ଧତା ପାଳନ କରିବା, 5 ଗୋଟିଏ ଦୁର୍ବଳତାର ଉତ୍ସକୁ ହନନ କରି ପଞ୍ଚଶୀଳ ପାଳନ କରିବା, ନୈତିକତା ମାନସିକ ଏବଂ ଦୃଷ୍ଟିକୋଣର ବିଫଳତାକୁ ନାଶ କରିବା, ଜୀବନର ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣତା ପ୍ରାପ୍ତି ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ଶାରୀରିକ, ବାଚନିକ, ମାନସିକ, ଦାନ ଭାବନା, ଧୈର୍ଯ୍ୟଗତ, ଓଜ, ଧ୍ୟାନ, ସମାଧି, ପ୍ରଜ୍ଞା ଇତ୍ୟାଦିରେ ପରିପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣତା। ନିର୍ବାଣରେ ପ୍ରାଣ ଧାରଣ କରିବା ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ 8ଟି ସଦାଚାର ମାର୍ଗରେ ଚାଲିବା। ଲିପ୍ସା ପରିତ୍ୟାଗ କରିବା ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ଲୋଭ, ଈର୍ଷା, ମୋହ ଇତ୍ୟାଦିକୁ ତ୍ୟାଗ କରିବା। ସମସ୍ତ ଯୌଗିକ ବିଷୟରେ ଅନିତ୍ୟ ବୋଲି ବିଶ୍ୱାସ କରିବା ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ଏ ପୃଥିବୀର ସମସ୍ତ ବସ୍ତୁ, ସମସ୍ତ ପ୍ରାଣୀ, ସମସ୍ତ ବିଷୟ, ସମସ୍ତ ଘଟଣା ସବୁ ଅନିତ୍ୟ, ସବୁ ଅସ୍ଥାୟୀ। ସବୁ ଘଟଣାର କାରଣ ଥାଏ ଓ ସବୁ କାଳର ମଧ୍ୟ କାରଣ ଥାଏ। କର୍ମ ହିଁ ନୈତିକତା ଶୃଙ୍ଖଳାର ଅବଲମ୍ବନ ବୋଲି ବିଶ୍ୱାସ କରିବା ହେଉଛି ଧର୍ମ ଅର୍ଥାତ୍ ସବୁ କର୍ମ, ଘଟଣା, ଅବସ୍ଥା, କାରଣ, ପ୍ରଭାବ ଏକ ଶୃଙ୍ଖଳାରୁ ଅବଲମ୍ବନ କରେ। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ।
Homage to him, the blessed one, the perfect one, and the supremely enlightened one. My homage to Mahabodhisattva, Babasaheb Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Most Venerable Bhante Metananda, respected principals and teachers of Shraddha Pathshala. Me, Buddhapriya Patra of Shraddha Pathshala, Rourkela, going to share the importance of Buddha Purnima. Today is Vaisakha Purnima. On this day, 563 BC, Siddhartha Gautama was born under a sal tree at Lumbiniwala of today's Nepal. He was the son of Maharaja Suddhodana and Mahamaya, and name of his clan is Sakya. Siddhartha was very sensitive and caring towards life and suffering of animals. At a very early age, once he had an argument with his brother Devadatta. When a swan injured by Devadatta was under refuge of Siddhartha Gautama, he argued that a person who saves the life of the bird has only right on it. This proves that he has Maitri Bhavana from his childhood. On another occasion, when a social dispute arose between Sakyas and Koilas led to war, Siddhartha stood firmly against war, because in a war people killed from both the sides, which is against humanism. This was a revolt for the human life. In very difficult and unavoidable situation, he left his home forever and involved himself in continuous thought process to know the cause of social dispute, and after 6 years he attained enlightenment under a peepal tree at Buddha Gaya. On a Pavana Vaisakha Purnima, after enlightenment, he propagated his philosophy for 45 years. At the age of 80, he attained Mahaparinirvan on another Vaisakha Purnima. His birth, enlightenment, and Mahaparinirvan, all these things happened on Vaisakha Purnima. So Vaisakha Purnima is celebrated all over the world as Buddha Purnima. My hearty greetings to all of you on this Tipavana Buddha Purnima. Namo Buddhaya, Jai Bhim.
Buddhaya, Jai Bhim. Homage to him, the blessed one, the perfect one, and the supremely enlightened one. Param Pujya Mahabodhisattva Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Most Venerable Bhante Miktananda, respected principal and teachers of Sadharma Pathshala. I am Chetna of Sadharma Pathshala, Rourkela. Buddha is known as the light of Asia in all over the world, but it has been proved many a times that he is light of the entire universe. Today, I am going to share few points from his teachings, that what is Sadharma and how it differs from Dhamma. Now let me place before you what is Sadharma. Sadharma is to cleanse the mind of its impurities. Dhamma is to reach perfection in life by achieving perfection of some things. But Sadharma is to make the entire world a kingdom of righteousness. Dhamma is a personal concern, but Sadharma is not to achieve knowledge, but to promote prajna among all. Only then Dhamma will be Sadharma, when it makes learning open to all. Sadharma teaches that mere learning is not enough. What is needed indeed is prajna, the vichara dhamma, the thinking aright. Learning may lead pendatory, but prajna is key to liberty. Again, Sadharma teaches mere prajna is not enough. It must be accompanied by sila, the acharana dhamma, the acting aright. Without sila, prajna may or may not perform for the mankind. Prajna without sila is dangerous. Prajna is like a sword. Without sila, it may act harmfully. So, the Blessed One said, sila is incomparable in the world. Sila is beginning and the refuse. Sila is the beginning and the refuse. Sila is the mother of all good. And again, Sadharma teaches, besides prajna and sila, what is necessary is karuna, compassion, the love for people. There was a dispute that prajna and karma, are these worthy elements, are two pillars of Buddha's Dhamma? I say, and Sadharma Pathshala says, yes, prajna and karuna both are the pillars of Dhamma, and so Sadharma teaches karuna is necessary besides prajna and sila. Here I would like to quote Baba Saheb that the purpose of Tathagata in coming into the world is to befriend those poor, helpless and unprotected, to nourish those in bodily affection, whether they be Shramanas or men of any other religion. And again, Sadharma teaches more than karuna. What is necessary is Maitri. Karuna is love for human beings. And Buddha, the Blessed One, went beyond and taught human beings Maitri. Maitri is love for human beings. And we all Buddhists and people of all religion should cultivate Maitri. All religion should cultivate Maitri to build Baba Saheb's dream world. Lastly, from here, I would like to say before you that I do feel proud to be a Buddhist. I also feel proud that my parents are followers of Buddha, the perfect one, the blessed one, and the supremely enlightened one. Thank you. Namo Buddhaya, Jai Bhim.
Namo Buddhaya. Homage to Triple Gems, Buddha Dhamma and Sangha, Most Venerable Bhikkhu Sangha, Mahabodhisattva Baba Saheb Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Mahatma Jyotiba Phule, Mata Savitribai Phule, Venerable Mektanand, all teachers and my friends in Dhamma. Today, I am grateful to be privileged to present my thought. Today, I am going to talk on the Buddha, essence of Dhamma and its practices. The world is passing through great changes today. With the advancement of technology, the entire world has become a globalized village. The increasing flow of money in our hands has increased, raising the standard of our living to unprecedented levels. We have enough material comforts, but the same cannot be said when it comes to the level of mental comfort. We can see that tension is only increasing in our lives. The gap between the rich and poor is ever increasing across the globe. Various national governments are spending billions of dollars to stockpile weapons of mass destruction instead of eradicating poverty and unemployment, which are on the rise. Violent incidents taking place in various parts of the world and the atrocities on weaker section of the society, including children, women, and the aged. Further, the exploitation of man by man is seen in every part of the world and is increasing by the day. Such reptilian behavior by man is one of the most shameful things that could happen in the 21st century. Therefore, the teaching of the Buddha that enmity is overcome by friendship, violence is overcome by peace, and war does not solve any problem are all the more relevant today. Whatever comes progress we may achieve in economics, we cannot be happy unless we behave according to the law of nature, that is the Dhamma. Morality, mastery over mind, and direct experiential wisdom are the essence of the Buddha's teaching. Human beings and their welfare are the main concerns of the Buddha's teaching. He was interested in making human beings happy, as only happy human beings can create a happy society. Human beings can become happy only when suffering ceases. The Buddha discovered the root cause of all sufferings. The Buddha discovered the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Noble Paths, which led to cessation of suffering. The Buddha rediscovered Vipassana and recognized its importance as the universal remedy for all the ills of mankind. Vipassana is a practical, unifying and most quintessential tool for mental training. It purifies the mind by removing defilements such as cravings, aversion, and attachment. In a world filled with diversities of religion, language, beliefs, and interests, it is the most effective practical path enabling one to live a life full of peace and happiness without any anger and conflict. By selflessly serving others, we serve ourselves. By respecting other religions and communities, we respect our own religion and community. The Buddha never promoted any kind of rituals and idol worship, as they led to superstitions. He who sees the Dhamma sees me, remarked the Buddha. The Buddha also emphasized that there is no shortcut to the Dhamma. Every person has to work individually for one's salvation. No power in the universe can liberate one unless one works for it. Everyone is a master of one's own destiny. The path shown by the Buddha is based on equality. No person enjoys a high or low status on the basis of birth, caste, gender, financial status, place of birth. All the Buddhists have only one identity, that of following the path shown by the Buddha. The Buddha preached the bhikkhus, saying them as all the rivers lose their identity when they meet the ocean and become part of it. Similarly, all the Dhammists, when they follow the path of Dhamma, become a part of his order and lose their individual identity of birth, caste, gender, financial status, place of birth. The Buddha opened the doors of his Sangha to Angulimal, who was a robber due to certain circumstances, Amrapali, who was forced to become a courtesan, Barber Rupali, Sweeper Sunita, Chandalika Prakriti, Herdman Swastika, etc. Nowadays, an increasing number of people, the rich and the famous intellectuals, sports persons, film stars across the world are embracing the teaching of Buddha and reaping the benefits. The Geneva-based International Coalition for the Advancement of Religions and Spirituality, ICARUS, has bestowed the Best Religion Award in the world, Award of 2009 on the Buddhist community. The special award was voted on by an international roundtable of more than 200 religious leaders from every part of the spiritual spectrum, as they could find literally not one single instance of war fought in the name of Buddhism. So, to get the maximum advantage of this sublime philosophy of life, to make our life happier, healthier, and more peaceful, prosperous, and meaningful, it is necessary to adapt them in our daily lives. I would also like to say a Buddhist is not a slave to a book or to any person, nor does he sacrifice his freedom of thought by becoming a follower of the Buddha. He can exercise his own free will and develop his knowledge even to the extent of attaining Buddhahood himself, for all are potential Buddhas. Therefore, there are beings without limit. Let us take the vow to convey them all across. There are depravities in us without number. Let us take the vow to extinguish them all. There are truths without end. Let us take the vow to comprehend them all. And there is the way of Buddha without comparison. Let us take the vow to accomplish it perfectly. Thank you. Namo Buddhaya.
अवसर आया है शांति का, आया है प्यार का त्योहार, जिसने दी हमें शांति और प्यार, उसी भगवान का है आज त्योहार। नमो बुद्धाय। मैं सोनाली दीप आप सभी के सामने इसी शुभ दिन के बारे में कुछ बोलना चाहूंगी। जैसे कि आप सब जानते हैं कि आज हमारे महात्मा गौतम बुद्ध का जन्मदिन है। जिससे गौतम बुद्ध की बात आज मैं कर रही हूँ, उनका जन्म बहुत देर से हुआ था, जिससे उनके पिता ने एक नामकरण का त्योहार रखा। बेसिकली जो नामकरण का त्योहार होता है, वहाँ पे अलग अलग देशों से, अलग अलग शहरों से लोगों को बुलाया जाता है। महाराज ने भी यही किया, अलग अलग देशों से, अलग अलग शहरों से लोगों को बुलाया। वैसे तो बहुत सालों के बाद अपने बुढ़ापे पे सिद्धार्थ जन्म हुए थे, तो उन्होंने बहुत सारे ज्योतिषियों को भी बुलाया। ज्योतिषियों ने सिद्धार्थ का हाथ देखा। 12 साल का जो छोटा सा लड़का था, उसने भी छोटे सिद्धार्थ का हाथ देखा। महाराज ने ज्योतिषियों को सिद्धार्थ के बारे में पूछा कि इसका भविष्य क्या है, इसके जीवन में क्या बनने वाला है। तो 90% लोगों ने कहा कि ये सन्यास ले लेगा और 10% लोगों ने ये कहा कि ये राजा बन जाएगा। पर वो जो 12 साल का छोटा सा लड़का था, बस उसने एक उंगली उठाई और बोला कि राजन, मैं स्पष्ट तौर से कहता हूँ कि आपका बेटा सन्यास चला जाएगा सब कुछ छोड़ के। राजा को बहुत गुस्सा आया। वो चिंतित में पड़ गए कि इतने सालों के बाद एक बेटा हुआ है, अगर वो सन्यास चला जाएगा तो मेरा क्या होगा, मेरे राज्य का क्या होगा, मेरे राज्य को कौन संभालेगा। तभी महाराजा ने मंत्री से पूछा कि वो क्या कर सकते हैं। मंत्री ने कहा कि वो जो महल में रहते हैं, तो सुख में भी सुख का एहसास होना चाहिए और दुख में भी सुख का एहसास होना चाहिए। बूढ़े व्यक्ति से दूर रखो, सन्यासी से दूर रखो, यहाँ तक कि वो जो सूखे पत्ते बगीचे में दिखने नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि ये जो चीजें होते हैं ना, ये उसे आकर्षित कर सकते हैं सन्यास की तरफ। आप सभी की जानकारी के लिए मैं ये बता दूं कि सिद्धार्थ के लिए हर चीज अलग अलग हुआ करता था। मतलब गर्मी के मौसम में अलग घर, सर्दी के मौसम में अलग घर, बारिश के मौसम में अलग घर, ऐसा चलता रहा। पर कब तक चलेगा, एक दिन तो सच निकलना ही था, और वो दिन आ गया। सिद्धार्थ को एक दिन योग महोत्सव में भाग लेने जाना था, और उस समय महोत्सव का उद्घाटन युवराज जी क्या करते थे। तो राज्य में ऐलान कर दिया गया कि सिद्धार्थ जिस रास्ते में गुजरेंगे, खबरदार कोई बूढ़ा व्यक्ति नजर नहीं आना चाहिए, कोई सन्यासी नजर नहीं आना चाहिए, कोई मुर्दा नजर नहीं आना चाहिए। तब वो जो सारथी होता है, वो सिद्धार्थ को लेकर निकलता है। तभी सिद्धार्थ ने अपने जीवन में पहली बार एक बूढ़े व्यक्ति को कुंभ करते हुए, झुक झुक के चलते हुए देखा। सिद्धार्थ ने कहा, रथ रोक, ये क्या देख रहा हूँ मैं, ये व्यक्ति क्या कर रहा है, ये झुक झुक के क्यों चल रहा है। तभी सारथी कहता है, महाराज ये बूढ़ा हो गया है। तभी सिद्धार्थ कहते हैं, क्या मैं भी एक दिन बूढ़ा हो जाऊंगा। सारथी कहते हैं, हाँ आप भी एक दिन बूढ़ा हो जाओगे। रथ आगे बढ़ा और सिद्धार्थ ने फाइनली एक मुर्दे को देखा। लोग एक बॉडी को अपने कंधे पे बिठाए हुए, बॉडी को बांध के कहीं ले जा रहे थे। सिद्धार्थ ने कहा, रथ रोक, मैं ये क्या देख रहा हूँ, इस व्यक्ति को ये लोग बांध के कहाँ ले जा रहे हैं। तभी सारथी कहता है, महाराज ये बूढ़ा हो गया था इसलिए मर गया। तभी सिद्धार्थ कहते हैं, क्या मैं भी एक दिन मर जाऊंगा, क्या मुझे लोग ऐसे ही बांध के ले जाएंगे। सारथी कहता है, हाँ महाराज, एक दिन आप भी ऐसे मर जाओगे। बात तभी बदली जब सिद्धार्थ ने गेहूं वस्त्र पहने कुछ लोगों को उस रास्ते हुए गुजरते हुए देखा। सिद्धार्थ ने कहा, रथ रोक, ये मैं क्या देख रहा हूँ, ये लोग इस रंग के कपड़े क्यों पहने हैं। सारथी ने कहा, महाराज ये लोग सन्यासी हैं, इन्होंने सब कुछ छोड़ दिया है क्योंकि इनके जीवन में दुख ही दुख और तकलीफें हैं। बस यही सुनकर युवराज वहां से निकल जाते हैं घर, और उसी रात वो घर छोड़कर सन्यास चले जाते हैं। और 12 साल के बाद जब वो घर लौटते हैं, यशोदा रो पड़ती है, गालियां देती है। तभी सिद्धार्थ कहते हैं तो कितनी रो रही है, कितनी तकलीफ में है, मुझे गालियां दे रही है क्योंकि मैं 12 साल तेरे साथ नहीं था, मैं संन्यास चला गया था। तू ये देख, गया कोई और था और आया कोई और है। यशोधरी, गया कोई और था, देख आया कोई और है। गौतम ने हमें बहुत कुछ सिखा के गए हैं। एक व्यक्ति ने गौतम से पूछा कि लोगों के पास जरूरत से भी ज्यादा चीजें होकर भी वो खुश क्यों नहीं रहते। बुद्ध ने कहा, लोग उम्मीद ज्यादा रखते हैं और खुशियां कम बांटते हैं। एक जलते हुए दीपक से हजारों दीपक रोशन किए जा सकते हैं, फिर भी उसकी रोशनी कम नहीं होती। उसी तरह खुशियां बांटने से खुशियां कम नहीं होती, बढ़ती है।
नमो बुद्धाय। मैं अलीशा हरिपाल, सेक्टर 6 सद्धम्म पाठशाला राउरकेला की एक छात्री। आज इस स्पेशल दिन, एक उत्सव में, बुद्ध पूर्णिमा में आपको मैं 3 यूनिवर्सल ट्रुथ्स के बारे में बताना चाहती हूँ। फर्स्ट, अनिका। एवरीथिंग इज इम्परमानेंट एंड चेंजिंग। इस जगत में कोई भी चीज़ हमारा होकर हमेशा नहीं रहता। हम देखेंगे कि कुछ समय एक चीज़ वो हमारा रहेगा, लेकिन कुछ समय बाद हम देखेंगे कि वो हमारा नहीं रहेगा, वो किसी और का रहेगा। आते हैं हम सेकंड में, दुक्का में। इम्परमानेंस लीड्स टू सफरिंग, मेकिंग लाइफ इम्परफेक्ट। हम एक चीज़ से अटैच होते हैं, अगर वो हमसे दूर हो जाए तो वो दुख, हम लोग बहुत ही दुखी हो जाते हैं और ये दुख हमारे जीवन को अशांति बना देती है। हम थर्ड में आते हैं। थर्ड में है अनता। द सेल्फ इज नॉट पर्सनल एंड अनचेंजिंग। हमारे जितने हम देख रहे हैं कि हमारे जो सराउंडिंग्स हैं, जहाँ पे लोग बाग सब हैं, लेकिन वो हमेशा चेंज होते रहता है। लेकिन हम अगर देखते हैं कि हम पर्सनल हैं, मतलब हम अपने आप से अटैचमेंट है। धन्यवाद।
सबको मेरा नाम बुद्धाय। मैं हूं अंकित कुमार हरिपाल, सद्धम्म पाठशाला सेक्टर 6 राउरकेला का एक छात्र। तो इस बुद्ध पूर्णिमा के पावन अवसर पर मैं आप सबको अलाइनमेंट ऑफ बुद्ध के बारे में कुछ बोलना चाहूँगा। So the Prince Siddhartha Gautam was living a very luxurious and privileged life. But during these years, he was about to know that he must know the reality of human sufferings, truth of birth and death, and he must need to find the peace of mind. So for this reason, he left his house at the age of 29, and with his 5 companions, he started meditating and was engaged in vigorous asceticism for 5 to 6 years. Now, what happened in these years? In these times, they was just torturing their body and themselves. It was like they were holding their breath for a very, very long time, until their ribs and spines was were being seen from their skin. It was like their whole lungs was just squeezed. So much torture was suffered. But why? Why to do that? Then after some time, he realized and remembered his childhood days when he was sitting under a rose apple tree, and he thought that during the childhood times I was just sitting there and getting the greatest bliss. This means a very great happiness. But how? Because he was observed in a very deep meditative state and was just fully happy. Okay. So after that, he realized that means instead of making the body feel so much pain and feel all the torture, he must only live a middle life. Middle life means, he explained to his students that in a middle life you must not suffer more or live a very extremely harsh life, that you are so much poor that you are just cutting all the necessities you need and just living a very poor life. That's not it. And not that too, that means you will be living a very luxurious life. So after that, means he thought that yes, we must live a middle life, and for this he needed physical strength and maintain balance of his body and mind, and ate there some food. So after seeing this, all the companions of his left him, thought that he is just has U-turned from his quest. So at Bodh Gaya, which is now in Bihar, so he meditated there, sat beneath a sacred fig and began to meditate. So according to some people, he attained to enlightenment in just one night, some 3 days. So after the purification by concentration, he was believed to achieve 3 things. The first is the knowledge of his past lives and the past lives of all the beings. Second is the loss of karma, and third is that he is free from all the attachment and is released from his every other connection he had with any emotional and materialistic thing. So with this, I conclude my speech.